All right. Check, check, check. Check, check, check. All right. There's that. Turn that up a little bit. All right, then. There we go. All righty. So, what's up, everybody? I'm doing a Porchlyte podcast. It's your gracious host, Mr. Craig Harris. How's everything going? How's everything been going? Hopefully, you all had a good day. I went back to the movies again to see Avengers End Game. And so shout out to everybody that has seen it. There will be Easter eggs. I'm doing a review, spoiler review, and Easter eggs pretty much, and I'll do questions, Q&A. That will be part of the spoilers if you all ask the questions. I'm just going to do the Easter eggs. And hopefully with the Easter eggs, which there will be spoilers. So, but there are a lot of Easter eggs that a lot of people are going to miss. So if you go back a second time or a third time, hell, I'm really thinking about going to go see this again, probably in a couple weeks. But first things first, a review of the movie. It's nothing like Endgame. First, again, thanks everybody for coming by. If you got any questions, please ask them. If you don't have them, that's fine too. You can just listen. But what this movie is, it's nothing like Endgame at all. It pace is different. This is just my general review. It's heavy. It's heavy in the sense that it's just a lot of stuff going on. And it is a tearjerker. You realize I left a quick synopsis in my description here is that I was not even going to go see the first Iron Man. A doctor that I worked with at the hospital I was working at, a surgeon that I worked with, he asked me about the movie. He asked me had I seen it. And I said, no, it was Iron Man. And I'm like, what is this movie about? A guy in an iron suit? Who cares about stuff like that? And he says, nah, it's not like that. It's got, I said, who's even in the movie? And he said, Robert Downey Jr. I'm like, the drug addict that lost everything. I'm definitely not going to go see him, But anyway, long story short, he drugged me up there to the theater on a Wednesday, and it changed everything. I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I remember trying to get up to leave when the movie ended, and he's like, "No, wait a minute. There's another scene that you got to sit down and watch." And I'm like, "What do you mean? There's another scene? The credits are rolling. I mean, you're going crazy." He says, "Nah, they filmed another scene." And this is the infamous Nick Fury scene with when he says, I want to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative," which I didn't even know. I heard of the Avengers, but I'm like, I wasn't a big Marvel guy. I knew who Spider-Man was at the time. And this is 10 years ago. So, of course, the next Avenger movie was the Incredible Hulk, which I didn't even go to the movies to see. It was trash. I mean, it was straight garbage. And I'm talking about the one with Ed Norton. I mean, I thought that movie was straight garbage, But and so I didn't go see it. It didn't make a lot of money. And they were people talking about, well, we got to go see Iron Man 2, stuff like that. Long story short, we got it. The movies were made because people wanted to see them. We kept going back to see these movies, and they rewarded us. And they awarded us, and our reward was this movie. This movie, it's all about Endgame now, is major fan service. If you've invested in the movies, in the TV shows. I mean, the TV shows, we got paid off. And as a fan, it feels like when you're watching a TV show, like you're the only one that's watching it. And to see some of the stuff from the TV show get put in there, that was tough, man. It was tough to watch too, because everything's ending in a sense that that's why I mean at the end credits in this movie they had a recall. They had a standing ovation in my theater when they had when they called them back out, sort of to speak. They showed their pictures and they signed their names and stuff like that. That has not been done since Star Trek. with Star Trek, I guess it's the Undiscovered Country. Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country. It was going to be the last time they were all going to be on the screen together, and they signed the screen. And it was pretty cool. And then, because a lot of them have passed away. Little Nimoy's gone. The guy that plays Scotty's gone. But this was the tearjerker for me, because it's a 10-year investment being paid off. And I didn't think they could pay it off. I didn't think the Russos could do it. And they did it. And I'm getting choked up a little bit now on it. So I don't know if it's easy to go front to back with Easter eggs, but I'll start. Okay, the first Easter egg really comes in with, man, there's so many. Okay, one of the first Easter eggs I remember is when Black Widow is talking to, the general from Wakanda, Captain Marvel, Rocket, and she's talking about the underwater earthquake that was around Africa. I think that was an Easter egg for Namor. That's their version of Aquaman. It's called Namor. Basically, the story of Aquaman in the movie that just came out was Namar's story. They pretty much took Namar's story, and made Aquaman with it. So because it's the same character. Namor is the Marvel version of Aquaman and vice versa. So very good chance that was that Easter egg. Let's see here. The whole time travel thing. A lot of people have asked about that, but the way they explain time travel in the movie is the way that quantum physics scientists around the world say it could happen. You can't, if you go back in time, your past, you start a new future. Therefore, your past is a new past. You're not, what they were trying to say is that you're going to cause splinters in the timeline, and your timeline will be fixed, but their timeline would mess up. Oh boy, let's see here. Another big Easter egg: Thor getting fat, wearing the glasses. That's an Easter egg to. There's a comic book with a fat Thor in there. And so that got paid off. If you read the Thor comic books and you read Fat Thor, that was your payoff for watching that. There's also Tony Stark. You'll hear say, move out of the way, Lebowski. That's a throwback to the Big Lebowski. So that was that Easter egg. The Hulk. I mean, a lot of people are mad. The Incredible Hulk fans are mad. What you saw was Professor Hulk. Now, they didn't call him Professor Hulk, but and he also had on gray. He had on gray the whole time. He had on either a gray shirt or gray pants, because that's an homage, an Easter egg to Gray Hulk. What's up, Players United Gaming? So that took care of that Easter egg. The Hawkeye thing. The only time Hawkeye's name was mentioned, and Hawkeye was mentioned, was in this movie, and he was talking about his daughter. His daughter was played by Joe Russo's. That's Joe Russo's daughter in real life. If you listen, when they get dusted, you'll hear thunder in the background. I mean, again, these are Easter eggs, and you hear thunder. If you go back to Infinity War, once people start disappearing, you hear thunder. So let's see, another one. Captain Marvel has cut her hair, so now she looks like the comic book Captain Marvel. And also in the comic book, she has a relationship with Rhodey. And so a lot of people think when she turned to him and said, "Be careful," that's the only time she showed any deference to anybody. So there's a chance that if they go by the comic book, let me make this clear, if they go by the comic book, the next movie that she does, Captain Marvel, when she does, Rhodey will be in it. Don't be shocked if Rhodey's not in it. Man, I'm trying to think. There were just so many Easter eggs being dropped. where Asgard was. That's a homage to Asgard in Oklahoma. Again, there was a brief comic book run. Again, if you read Thor comics, where Asgard is in Oklahoma. Now they settled either Newfoundland or I don't know, Scotland, wherever they were. They filmed in Scotland. But so of course they filmed over there. That's where the Norse gods religion comes from, things like that. So of course that's where they were going to be. Everybody clapped in my theater when Valkyrie was shown because that's a spoiler. Because people didn't know, you had rumors that she wasn't going to be in it, and she was going to be in it, stuff like that. So, just man, guy, it was just a huge payoff. The investment was, Norway. It was just a huge payoff. I kind of do feel bad for the people who did not watch the other movies because there were so many things to go back. Tony Stark, when he comes back, Tony Stark was saying, well, I wanted a suit of armor around the world. And this is when he was upset with Captain America. And he basically, that is a throwback line to Age of Ultron. That's a throwback line to Age of Ultron. But it was Tony foreseeing his death. Him sacrificing, him doing what he did to throw back to what Captain America said in the Avengers when he said, "You're not the guy that's going to lay down over the wire so that another guy can crawl over you to get to the target," or something like that. So, We Love You 3000, I think, is a throwback to the Iron Man 3000 workout device. Sony had product placement in this. They were playing Fortnite, which the Russos do play, and Joe Russo and stuff like that, they do play. Why do you think all of a sudden you can get Avenger skins in the Fortnite, I believe? And also, did you see the gamepad they were using? They were using a PlayStation gamepad. So again, that's product placement that is there because Sony has a deal with Disney with Spider-Man. So that's why that was there. I'm crawling through the movie as we speak right now in my head. I got my eyes closed. Trying to think. So Thor with Norway, things like that. I'm just trying to walk through the movie. There was so much in the movie. Let me grab my notes here because I did take some pretty good notes from the opening night. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, I picked up over 200 Easter eggs. I'm not going to go through all of them. Thanos, the planet that he was on, where he was shown being a farmer, that is a throwback to the comics because that's exactly what he does in the comics. His suit hanging up, the scarecrow, that's an homage to. So that was an Easter egg for that comic that came out of it's called the Infinity Gauntlet. Let's see what else we had here. Him saying him leaving, Tony Stark leaving the message for Pepper in his Iron Man mask. When he says, "Don't put this on social media." If you go back to the original Iron Man, okay, in the original Iron Man, when he's riding around with the soldiers, he says, "I'll take a picture with you, but don't put this on your MySpace page." MySpace was big back in 2008. Everybody had MySpace. We did not have Facebook at the time. MySpace was kind of the go-to social media hub for us. So just another big Easter egg right there. Another thing that they Easter egged in was when Nebula comes back and she holds on to Rocket's hand, and that's an homage to when Drax kind of put his hand on his head after Groot died in Guardians of the Galaxy. Also, towards the end of the movie, Rocket, the outfit that he has on, that's an homage to the Guardians of the Galaxy cover that James Gunn used to get his version of the Guardians of the Galaxy. That's the homage that he used. So so yeah, you see you see how Tony basically how Tony's vision came to truth, but came to fruition in Age of Ultron. He foresaw Earth being invaded and being conquered, and that's ultimately what did happen. So his dream, his vision, to Scarlet Witch. Again, they're paying off a lot of Age of Ultron in this movie, and so that's why. Which again, I liked Age of Ultron, but a lot of people put that movie, Age of Ultron, in the back of the. That's like the worst Avengers movie. Still not bad, but the worst. So funny to see non-comic book people get upset about the movie. Yeah. So, but that's where I Love You 3000s from. I did start from the beginning. I'm trying. My head is bouncing all around the place because there were Easter eggs all over. They're just popping into my head. I did write them down. Let's see here. Oh boy, yeah. Tony being upset with a Cap is tough. Is really tough. Thanos saying that he used the stones to destroy the stones. That's an homage to what Scarlet Witch did at the end of Infinity War. Because again, remember, Scarlet Witch gets her power from an Infinity Stone. So yeah, Fat Thor was funny. Yeah, that was. I mean, again, you guys have got to go see this. Yeah, all right. Cap lifting the mourner. Yeah. So that's an homage to, again, Civil War. He moved it in Civil War. So they're paying that off. They're like, yeah, he could have probably picked it up, but he pretended like he couldn't. So your MySpace is better than Facebook. Sure enough, yeah. You like this comic outfit? Yeah, I did too. Again, they paid off a lot of stuff. Also, Tony Stark again calls him Build-A-Bear, calls Rocket Build-A-Bear. Okay, and then later in the movie, he calls him Ratchet from Ratchet and Clank, another PS4 game. I think Ratchet and Clank's multi-plat, but it's it's a movie that Sony. I think there's a Ratchet and Clank movie, and I think Sony made that movie. So again, Sony getting product placement in a Marvel movie, which allegedly, guys, and don't quote me on this, the number I've heard is astronomical. They're saying it could make $960 million in 72 hours. If it makes any difference, Shazam has been out for about 3.5 weeks, and it's made more money in 72 hours than Shazam has made. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy money. So it's unfair. It's an embarrassment of riches that they got there. So that was another Easter egg. You see a real evolution of Tony Stark in from the beginning of 2008 to where he ended up. It was tough, man. I mean, it was tough. But yeah, let me get back to the Hulk, because I know, shout out to Sick Humor, he's probably not going to like this version of the Hulk. So if you notice, Hulk always had gray on because this is an homage to the Gray Hulk, and he basically, Professor Hulk has Hulk strength and has he has Hulk strength and he has Banner's brain. They call him Professor Hulk. So just I mean, again, they can't call him that. They can't call him Professor Hulk because that's owned by Universal. But what they can do is do an agreement where in spirit they kind of show you. And I'm sure Universal had to agree to it. So just tremendous job, tremendous payoff. All right, so Scott Lang getting out of the time void. He was in Lot 616. That's an homage, an Easter egg to the 616 series run. Also, the guy that played the security guard, he was also in, I think, Hot Tub Time Machine. He was in the Vegas movie, those horrible Las Vegas movies. I can't remember the name of them at this point, but they were comedies. Just stuff like that. this. So I think that puts everybody in there. Somebody told me that the rat is the MVP of the movie. So but yeah, so the time travel thing, does everybody understand the whole time travel thing? So when they go to New York 2012, all right, let's go there because there were Easter eggs drop here. You see the Sorcerer Supreme. A lot of people don't know who that was that knocked Professor Hulk out of his body. That was the Sorcerer Supreme. That was who Doctor Strange learned from in the Doctor Strange movie. That's the one who taught him about time travel. So, and he's the one who said, and this is true, they had to put each Infinity Stone back where they got it. They could not change it at any given point. So, and they didn't. They couldn't change it because then they would be changing the future, which all they wanted to do was make it so that Thanos didn't do what he did. They weren't trying to go back and, do anything like that. So, but also Captain America getting into the elevator and saying "Hail Hydra," that is a throwback to a very controversial Captain America comic book that I have called Hydra Agent, where he secretly was working for Hydra. But then they went back and retconned it a little bit and said, well, he really wasn't working for them. He infiltrated, blah, blah, blah. So that was why he said "Hail Hydra." That was from The Winter Soldier, okay, which is considered the best MCU movie ever made by a lot of people. I enjoyed it, but just this a mirror. I mean, at the end when people got to understand that Robert Redford, who's won an Oscar, they've got Brie Larson, who's won an Oscar. They just signed Angelina Jolie, who I think's won an Oscar. And so it's just amazing where this thing has gotten to. And it was a big time payoff. The scene where Tony Stark goes back to 1970, the guy that says "Make love, not war," that was Stan Lee, and that may have been his final cameo. So I'm not saying it was; it could have been. So I don't know if he's going to have one in Far From Home or not. So Captain America going back to the base, Tony Stark meeting his father, and everybody was like, well, the person that was driving Howard Stark, that's an Easter egg. All that stuff is from Agent Carter, and again, I watched Agent Carter, so when I saw that being paid off, I said, my God, they must have really, really understood what they were trying to do, because I thought watching Agent Carter was a waste of time. And that was 2 years of Agent Carter. And so it was tough. I mean, it was tough, man, because you're seeing all this play out in front of you. And I got teared up thinking like, man, they're really paying all this off. I couldn't believe it. And so anyway, the fight, they end up getting the big fight scene at the end. There weren't a ton of Easter eggs. They played hot potato. Hulk conducting the Infinity thing made the most sense because there was nobody else there that could have done it. Had anybody else tried to do it, they would have died. Maybe Thor gets away with it, but I think it would have killed him. And so, but at the end of the day, all of them come back, and all the people who got dusted come back, and they have a 45-minute comic book orgasm on the screen, just going at it with Thanos, and Captain America wielding the hammer was huge, at least in my theater. I've been to 2 theaters with the Movie Tavern twice. Shout out to Movie Tavern. Just people cheered out loud when Captain America got both hammers. I'm sorry, when Thor had both hammers and Captain America got it. And I don't know if you all saw what Captain Marvel did. She's going to make the man babies mad again. Captain Marvel came back, destroyed Thanos' ship called the Sanctuary 2. She destroys that ship. I did get a question in finally. Somebody's actually listening. How did Thanos and them get to where they got to on Earth? They used the Pym particles that Nebula had, our Nebula from 2019. They got those Pym particles and went through the exact same time tunnel. Okay, went through the exact same time tunnel. So and then they came out over here. Now, you know, Thanos already knew the future because he saw himself get killed. And so there's no interruption of the timeline. In essence, they created a loop. They went back and put the stones back to where they were. But hearing Captain America finally, after 10 damn years, say Avengers Assemble was just where I almost stood up and clapped when he did that. We've been waiting on that for 10 years. 10 damn years. We've been waiting on him to say that. So I got another question here too. I'll answer. But Captain Marvel gonna make the man babies mad. She destroyed Thanos' ship single-handedly. Then Thanos got the Infinity Gauntlet, and tried to snap his fingers, and she stopped him. She stopped him, and he was trying to like the same thing he did in Infinity War, where he was pushing down with Captain America, and Captain America had both, was holding his hand, and then he took his right hand and he hit Captain America into the ground. Okay. He tried to do that to her, but she pushed him back. And then she stood up. I mean, she jumped in the air and just cracked him. And it hit him so hard that he had to take the Power Stone out of the gauntlet and put it in his other hand and hit her with it. But that brief second on her doing that allowed Tony Stark to go and LoJack the Infinity Stones. And he said, "I am Iron Man," which is amazing because that's the last thing he said in his Iron Man movie, the first one in 2008. The last thing he said in that movie before the credits roll, and then it's the last thing he says in this movie. He didn't say nothing after that, and so that was just a huge payoff for that. It was hard, man. I mean, I teared up, especially at his funeral. You're seeing everybody. They show Tony Stark's arc reactor going out into the water. And then you see all these people that you've grown up with in the MCU, from watching the new Spider-Man with Tom Holland to, they pan to Ant-Man and the Wasp. I mean, damn. I mean, it was tough, man. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. With Michael Douglas there, they then panned over to the Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, that franchise was not supposed to do what it did, but it did it because we made that investment into the characters and into the MCU. We were able to get that, and that was paid off. It then showed Thunderbolt Ross, and I don't know who was standing next to Thunderbolt Ross. I don't know who that was. And then it panned up to the porch and it showed Nick Fury. And you just, I mean, at that point, I couldn't believe it. I was like, they actually had pulled this off. We got our payoff after a 10-year investment. And so that, I mean, there's a little more Easter eggs I can go over. That for me was that movie in a nutshell. There was just so much there. And it's hard, man. So Captain America with the timeline. Captain America goes back, and when Captain America goes back in time, he decides to stay, and he ends up marrying Peggy Carter, which is a payoff from Captain America: The First Avenger, when he's out in the middle of Times Square and they tell him it's 2011 or something like that. And he says, "Well, I had a date." And, so that wasn't a pan, that was a dolly. Okay. So it was a big payoff, and the music they were playing, that's just it was perfect. It was perfect. And he finally got his dance, and he got married. And I mean, you don't know if he had any kids. He probably didn't because of he probably didn't have any kids because of the infusion that he went through. Remember, he had the same type of thing with that Hulk did. Hulk is sterile. But so Captain America probably is too. But it did show Peggy Carter when she died. Does that mean Sharon Carter is his daughter? That's what. See, that whole timeline is now messed up. So, oh yeah, the fight sequences were amazing, man. I just, it was tough. I mean, you're sitting there, um, you're sitting there watching it, and you're watching it end as well. So at least people in my theater, including myself, grown ass man, admitting this in front of everybody, we were all teared up because we're there. It's done. I mean, we're the new Avengers, and Captain America gave his shield to Sam. Falcon, which in the comic book, Sam does get the Captain America mantle. They showed A-Force, which is the all female Avengers. That was and people were like, and we'll go into the other one too. But that is Scarlet Witch and Miss Marvel, Valkyrie. There was enough people cheered when they showed that. So that's good. That means that we could get an A-Force movie. We could. I'm not here to say that we will, but we could. You got to see Scarlet Witch. Everybody got to see Wanda go full Wanda, and she was killing Thanos. So so yeah, Thanos was a boss. Yeah, you're right about that. So, and I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. Just everything got paid off. So I just let's see. Somebody just sent me this. Hold on. Star-Lord wasn't much for the film just because. Well, that's well. I mean, these are the man babies are upset. So it's so they're upset. Yeah. So the timeline: Captain America lives with Agent Carter and runs parallel to the Winter Soldier one. Then he returns to greet them after Peggy dies. Well, see, that would fracture the timeline, though, because when did she have the daughter, or was she the aunt? See, I can't remember when the woman that Steve kissed in Civil War. Her last name is Sharon Carter. When it Sharon was Peggy Sharon's mom? Was Peggy, was that Sharon's mom uncompetitive, or is that an aunt? If that's an aunt, okay. But that's the only thing. If you're saying it's running parallel, then she would have never been born. You see what I'm saying? That is honestly. I'm not trying to overthink it. That is a plot hole, because how in the world, if he went back and he married her and stayed with her, then when did the daughter get conceived? You see what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying. When did the daughter get conceived? So, but again, I'm not complaining about the movie. That was about the only plot hole I could come up with after really, really watching it. So it can't be parallel at all. So, but I understand what you're saying. He could live an entire lifetime through the quantum realm. I understand what you're saying, but yeah, that would fracture the timeline with Peggy Carter. So that's all I'm saying. So the girl from S.H.I.E.L.D. watching him in the adjoining apartments, or isn't his relative Agent Carter married someone else when he was lost in the ice? Yes, you're right. But now he goes back and he's no longer lost in the ice, and that was from Winter Soldier across the apartment. So even the Infinity Stone stand on. Oh yeah. Thanos was a man. I mean, the only one that stood up to him flat out was Captain Marvel. So she went toe to toe with him, not once but twice. She put him in a headlock. Remember, she had him in a headlock. So so the Winter Soldier Civil War timeline is separate from the one where he dances with Peggy. But that's my point. I mean, again, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but then Sharon should not have been born. If he spent his entire life with her, Sharon's never born. You see what I'm saying? I see, and then it's created a splinter timeline too, which was not supposed to happen. But then he could have went back and broke the rules. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, if you applied what they said when he went back, if he returned the stones to their right timelines, then he went back further than he went back further. Either he never went into the ice or he went into the ice. And the main thing is they found the Tesseract. So that doesn't interrupt the Tesseract story, but he still marries Peggy Carter. But then where does Sharon come from? So the Marvel time travel rules would prevent the grandfather paradox. Is the moment you can go back, only kill a copy of your grandfather. Oh, well, again, you're right. You're right. I mean, to me, they had the correct version of time travel. But do you understand what I'm saying? So if he put the Tesseract back in the ocean, but he isn't frozen for 70 years, you still have the Tesseract, so he doesn't interfere with anything after the Tesseract, but he gets with Peggy Carter. You see what I'm saying? But I'm sorry, he gets with Sharon Carter. He gets with Sharon. So if he gets with Sharon and they don't have any children, then where does Peggy? Then where is this? I'm sorry, where does I'm getting their names good. Sharon Carter, the one he married. Then where does damn, I keep on saying Sharon Carter. I'm sorry. Peggy Carter, the one he married, had a daughter named Sharon. Where does Sharon come from? So, oh, she got pregnant by somebody else while she was married to Steve. Is that what you're saying? I'm not saying that you're wrong. Dude, I'm not saying that you're wrong because I love the movie. I love the movie, but that's the only plot hole. Do you understand the plot hole? Okay, so even if we give it that he went back into the ice, he goes back to where the plane crashed. He still sticks the Tesseract in the ice so that Howard Stark still finds the Tesseract, so that completes that timeline. Him marrying Peggy, where does Sharon come from? So he isn't with the Agent Carter we know, but a copy of her created when he goes back in time. That's my point, is he splinters the timeline. Yeah, he splinters the timeline. That's all I'm saying, is that he would have to splinter that timeline and break that rule. So, and then he came back to our time, or to the MCU time, and gave Sam the shield. So does that mean he was never Captain America, or that he was Captain America, still doing Captain America things? I mean, again, that's the whole thing. That was the only plot hole I could come up with, but everything else, they closed it off. Let's talk about the deaths, because a lot of people are talking about that, and these are major spoilers, okay? Black Widow dies. Black Widow dies. She goes to Morab, and she and Clint fight. Now, this is paying off her prequel movie, which is going to something happened in Budapest. Everyone wants to know what happened in Budapest. Clint was sent to kill Black Widow. Was sent to kill her, Romanoff. He has her dead to rights, but he gets her to turn. And so because he does that, she joins S.H.I.E.L.D. Because she joins S.H.I.E.L.D., she has red in her ledger where she's killed people during different operations and things like that. She tries to redeem herself with Bruce, but Bruce Banner, he ain't having it, which I don't understand why. You look at Scarlett Johansson, it's like, my God, you just come over here and I'll bend you over, but it is what it is. He didn't want nothing to do with her. So, she ends up dying for the only family that she had. I think that was tough when Steve Rogers, Stark says, hey, does she have any family? And Rogers is like, yeah, us. So so then he returns to the timeline we know as was arranged. The plot hole is that he does not need that platform to return. So maybe Captain America used the other platform at the Avenger base after they had used it to return to the past, and the Hulk was not around. I mean, again, very possible. I mean, like I said, it's a plot hole. It's not something I'm really bitching about. It's just something I kind of really started thinking of. I thought about it, kind of like, well, that is a plot hole. It's not if that's the worst thing that I could come up with that didn't get closed out. But back to Black Widow. So she dies. She sacrifices herself to become the Soul Stone, and so we know that young Gamora which that's just it. Gamora never died because they went back and changed that. So that is a change. That is something that they changed. So it's just again, all they did was, like you said, all we're doing is we're putting the people back into the timeline. We're not changing anything so that the timeline remains the same. So Nebula not realizing she was a security risk. She may not have understood how she worked. There's a very good chance in that. So, but yeah, I mean, I like how they played hot potato or hopscotch with the Infinity Gauntlet. Black Panther had it. Spider-Man had it. Captain Marvel had it. We could go on and on and on. It's Valkyrie had it, just great. So disappointed with Fat Thor, lack of Hulk smash. Well, I mean, you still got to see Hulk smash stuff. It was just the Hulk from 2012. And again, remember I said to Sick Humor, shout out to Sick Humor, I said you're going to probably see Professor Hulk in this one, and that's who we saw. So which is fine. So Fat Thor, again, if you read the Thor comic books, that was an homage to us. So again, I don't know if you were here, Impatient Fire, at the beginning of the podcast. So shout out for you coming in. This was an homage and a really major fan service movie. I mean, this is for the guy and the gal that sat down and read the comics, followed the movies, listened to guys, and shout out to these guys, Comics Explained, and Charlie Emergency also. My God, just the last 10 years, or last 6 years after I found these gentlemen, educate. These guys are comic encyclopedias. It also, because this is over, it allowed me personally, to unsub from people. So I unsub from Comic Book Cast because there's no reason to follow them anymore. I unsub from Beyond the Trailer. That's Grace Randolph. I unsub from her. No reason to watch her anymore. I mean, I may watch her do Movie Math tomorrow. Matter of fact, I will watch her do Movie Math, but that'll be it. That's the last time. This is the last time I'm watching her. So, the boy from the funeral was from Iron Man 3. I did catch that. So, it's all fan service. Oh yeah, it was just for me. It was just, I teared up with the fan service. I am not gonna lie. I teared up, and because it felt like everything got paid off. I mean, me watching Agent Carter, I never thought they were going to put something like that in there. I mean, they paid that off with the same actors and actresses. So shout out to them. They got Haley Atwell. They got Natalie Portman. She was in it. Now, she didn't have no lines, but she was still in the movie. And so just, I mean, and people got to understand, she's won an Oscar. They had like 3 or 4 Oscar-winning actors and actresses in this. I mean, this thing started with a D-list actor who was a drug addict in Robert Downey Jr. That's how this got started. I mean, they got this all the way to the point where people were begging for roles, going and calling, begging Kevin Feige for an audition. So give it a 9 out of a 10. Cool. So, but yeah, just this major fan service, and they nailed it. They nailed it because, again, and I get it, the people who did not put the 10-year investment in, they missed a lot of stuff. There was a whole lot of stuff in this movie. It was heavy, and but it was also bittersweet and sad. And I just this all the franchises, man, my God, it's billion-dollar franchise after billion-dollar franchise after billion-dollar franchise. I mean, this is unbelievable. Captain America doing that, which is right out of the comic book. Captain America, another Easter egg, his shield being broken, right? Easter egg right out of the comic book. So oh man, just phenomenal. The men superhero were jokes. No, not really. They weren't jokes. They were. I thought everybody did exactly what they needed to do. So I don't know how they were jokes. I mean, they were defeated. I mean, I agree with you. Yeah, people were like, well, the women, well, yeah, they were doing that, though. They said going forward. Remember what Kevin Feige said, going forward, what the MCU is going to be. And again, you're going to have the new Avengers are going to be the guy from Asia, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Rhodey, kind of as a throwback to Iron Man. That'll kind of be our connection still to Tony Stark to let us transition slowly out of that. And and we got another Ant-Man movie coming. We have movies coming. Now I'm telling you right now, my prediction right now is that the $1 billion stuff, that is going to come to an end. That's coming to an end. Maybe Black Panther maybe Spider-Man Far From Home may get $1 billion. Probably I'm going to say it gets $1 billion because it's going to be worldwide release. But that'll be the last build. But that's a Sony movie, more or less. So I agree, Jay Fonz. The girls didn't steal the show. It was great to see them get their time to shine. Okay, we saw Captain Marvel shine. I mean, the man babies are still complaining about her. I gave them hell about 15 minutes ago. But let's see here. Yeah, I love what they did with Captain Marvel. She went toe to toe with Thanos, not once but twice. Like I said, she held him. People were like, well, she didn't do much. Shit, she put him in a headlock. She could have broke his neck right there. She didn't. Something else happened to him. For all you all who don't know. Then she went toe to toe with him. Like I said, Captain Marvel's the reason why Thanos did not snap his finger the second time, because she was whooping up on him. So the comedic second act fell out of place. What was the second comedic act? Let me know. So the girls stole the show. I don't see how they just. All right, tell me how the girls stole the show. Well, I mean, again, Captain Marvel is the strongest Avenger we've ever seen. Again, remember, it used to be Thor, but Thor's people got wiped out to 25%. Another thing, Valkyrie taking over as the queen of Asgard now. That's, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. So, oh yeah, Jay Fonz, I agree. The last hour was a flat-out nerdgasm of 10-year build-up for me. So I had the most giant nerdgasm ever. So yeah, I agree with you about Scarlet Witch. They've been holding her back. So they say it's to advance the MCU. That's cool. The second act, the time heist. Well, I mean, there was some heavy stuff in that time heist. Like I said, Captain America saying Hail Hydra, fighting himself. That was hilarious to me. I mean, it's for me. I mean, but it was fan service, and that was funny. Hulk having to walk down the steps. That was funny as hell. He's like, so many stairs. So us seeing the Sorcerer Supreme. That was fine. I didn't like the fact that she played that part, but I loved how she played the part. Okay, I felt that they had whitewashed that part. She's supposed to be Tibetan. So and they didn't have her being Tibetan. But it was cool to see, because we've always asked as fans, what were the other superheroes doing in New York when New York was under attack? And well, we saw the Sorcerer Supreme. She was up there fighting. So that's cool. So yeah, I agree with Jay Fonz. They had great moments with the time heist. So see, Thor comes back better in Guardians because he was a joke in this one. Literally, yeah. Well, I mean, again, Chris Hemsworth is a funny dude, and so yeah, he's in negotiations right now for another Thor movie, but it sounds like, and don't hold me to this. It sounds like he is going to be in the next Guardians movie, which is great because we're supposed to see Adam Warlock, and Adam Warlock is extremely powerful. So you'll probably get like Captain Marvel, Thor, and the Guardians of the Galaxy, which is fine, So, but yeah, I did not dislike Thor in this one. So shout out to my boy Robert Storm. So Damn, BGS is on too. All right. So they couldn't even end this chapter. I agree, Jay Fonz. Yeah, he was depressed and got fat. Yeah. When my dad passed, that's what happened to me. And so I can understand it. I love the fact that, how about the Sony placement though there, Jay Fonz? They had a Sony PlayStation playing Fortnite in that. So, but I love the symmetry they did with Iron Man in this movie. I just do. I loved it. Last thing, like again, last thing he said in his Iron Man movie was "I am Iron Man," and the last thing he said as an Avenger was "I am Iron Man." And that was it. And I love when Pepper came up to him and said, "We're going to be okay. It's okay for you to rest." And then that was it. He rested. I loved it. I loved it. And I teared up. Like I said, grown man admitting it to you right here on the internet. You can record it. I'll say it to whoever I need to. I teared up, because it was tough, man. It was tough. I'm not going to lie. Scarlet Witch, Black Widow passed, and I teared up. I mean, that's somebody who said she had nothing, then she got this. And the only way for her to keep it going was to sacrifice herself. And it was tough, man. It was tough. So Captain America put on a show. He sure as hell did. I mean, they all put on a show. Doctor Strange, I mean, the whole theater lit up when we all saw Black Panther come walking through that portal. We saw that shit, and then all those other portals opened up, and I loved it. I love it. We got our Lord of the Rings. I mean, it was like a comic book splash page. That was what you call a splash page. You saw it all. Here's who I wish we would have seen, and this is just me personally. Why didn't I get me some Ghost in this movie and Lawrence Fishburne in this movie? I wanted to see Ghost so bad. I just wanted to look at her. I mean, my God, that girl's gorgeous. She's the way it should be. Wake up in the morning, that's the way it should be. Get my pancakes, that's the way it should be. Go eat my BLT, that's the way it should be. I would have loved. She could have been so cool in the time heist thing. That would have been great. I thought but that was me. I mean, that's the only thing I can say. But but it was a nerdgasm for me. But my theater, again, the theater I was in lit up when all of them, when Captain Marvel, Captain Marvel saved Tony Stark, and Nebula would have been fine. But Tony Stark, yeah, she saved his life, so you geared up when Natasha sacrificed herself so Hawkeye could be get out of the family. Well, yeah, man, that was tough, man, uncompetitive. I ain't gonna lie. And it's not that she did it, it was why she did it. Okay. It was just like, you know what? She had to pay Hawkeye back. And the family that she had was not going to exist anymore unless she did something about it. And she took the loss the hardest. I mean, people like Thor took the loss hard, and he did. But man, Black Widow took the loss the hardest. She took the loss the hardest. So I agree, though, man. That's a very good point. I agree with Jay Fonz, Wanda going full Wanda. It's just that stuff that we've been asking for. Kind of like, you talk amongst yourselves, you leave comments like, man, are we ever going to see Wanda go Wanda? Man, I mean, she was killing Thanos. I mean, she was killing him. Captain Marvel could have used the Time Stone to bring Iron Man back. Captain Marvel could have probably conducted that Infinity Gauntlet, but she wasn't here. She wasn't here. But no, Iron Man was supposed to die. And I picked up on it when Dr. Strange said, if I tell you what's going to happen, it won't happen. At that point, I knew. And then but Captain Marvel's the reason why Thanos didn't snap his fingers a second time. So I think we see Adam Warlock, Jay Fonz, in the next Guardians movie. I think we see him in the next Guardians. So, I mean, that's my opinion, though. So, yeah, I thought Ant-Man played a pivotal role too. I mean, he was big. I mean, he was big. I mean, no pun intended. So, and You know, it was good to see the Walst in there too. I mean, they haven't. You know, I don't know what she's going to be doing in the third Ant-Man movie though. So, but I just don't. I mean, because we're doing Ant-Man movie, we got 2 more Black Panther movies to get. We got 2 more Captain Marvel movies to get. So we're fine. We got an Eternals movie coming. That see, and I don't think the Eternals movie is going to make a lot. It's not going to do well in the sense that it may be a $500 million movie. So yeah, they gave Ant-Man his due. So look, everybody had time to shine. Okay, everybody got their time to shine, and that's why this movie was so long, because everybody had a taste. Everybody got a seat at that table and got to get down, you know. And see, if Nebula would have left, Thanos would have never came. If Nebula would have left Thanos, Thanos would have never came. Possibly. Without Cap and Iron Man a huge holes. Yeah, hey, Jay Fonz, I'm in the same. We're in the same boat. It was hard, man. It was bittersweet. You're watching it, but when the very end, the credits, if you stay to the very end credit where the Marvel logo pops up, you hear 10. Somebody tweeted me and said you hear 10 clanks, and the clanks are Iron Man working in that cave, because that's where this thing started. This thing started. Iron Man started right there in a fucking cave. And that's where this thing got going. Also, Audi had their product placement. You know, Tony Stark's car was that new e-tron. You all saw that. That got a nice little 4-second nod when Stark showed up at Avengers Tower, or the Avengers facility, I should say. Also, the car that Captain America and them pulled up in when they went to go visit Stark, that was an Audi. I mean, you know, that was an Audi. Audi, when the Avengers, I'm sorry, when Iron Man started, Audi was rebranding everything too, because they were restarting too. And so they were like, can we put our cars in your movie? And of course, Downey Jr., part of his contract at the end of Avengers, I'm sorry, at the end of Iron Man 2, he gets any new Audi that comes off the line. That's part, they have to buy him a car. So it is what it is. So, so yeah. Yeah, Jason, good point. Yeah. Saw that new Star Wars trailer too. I'm excited about that movie. So you still have Captain America, Sam. You have our look, we have our spacefaring people with the Guardians and Captain Marvel. We have Captain America here. Bucky will be his lieutenant. So the Avengers are still here. It's just they're different now. I mean, we got Bucky, we've got Sam, we've got T'Challa, we've got Carol, we have Wanda, you know. And remember, Bucky and Sam are going to be on the Disney Plus thing. They're going to put that on there too. So, you know. Yeah. No. It was a nod to Tony, J. Vons. Yeah, it was a nod to Tony. Because that's where things started, in that cave, man. And I think because somebody tweeted me, it was 10 nods. It was 10 clanks. And for the 10 years that we've invested. That's what I was told. I would have to go back and watch it again. So the new actors for X-Men or X-Men. But, you know, all those roles are going to be recast. So I wish they didn't, because I love the guy that plays. I love McAvoy and Fassbender. Recast everybody else but those 2 guys. I mean, ask those 2 guys if they want to come back at least. So, yeah, I mean, I agree, Jay. I mean, but do you think McAvoy and Fassbender as Magneto and Professor X? You think they should, at least at the bare minimum, Feige should ask them? You agree with those? So yeah, that's up. Yeah. But I agree with you. Recast everybody else though. The rest are trash, and I hate saying that about Jennifer Lawrence, because she's a Kentucky girl, and I want everybody from Kentucky to do well, but she's from Louisville, and so yeah, I want her to do well, and you know, and she don't like playing that role anymore, Mystique. She don't like playing it anymore. But I agree, trash. I mean, yeah, I agree with that. So, see, without Cap, yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, Impatient Fire. Look, I'm having a hard time too, but it's part of the journey is the end, and that's the hero's journey. Because what do they say? You live long enough to die as a hero, or you become a villain, or something. That's the saying, or something like that. So yeah, I mean, all these characters went full circle. Captain America used to be rah rah pro government, and then he became an anti-government person. Tony Stark started out as anti-government and selfish, and he became somebody who was willing to die for everybody else, even though he had a lot to lose. They still went by the old Star Trek theme of the need of many outweighed the need of the few or the one. So, and he wanted the world to be a better place for his daughter. You know, he said, my daughter, he said, Morgan's going to inherit this planet. And I just hope, you know, we got to hope it's better than what it should have been. So, yeah. So, maybe in another 4 to 7 years, I think our next, the connection we'll have, Jay Fawn, shout out to you for asking that question. The next, I believe that the next connection we have to Iron Man will still be Rhodey. I think Rhodey makes an appearance in the next Captain Marvel movie, possibly, because in the comic book, they're romantically involved. And if you watch the movie, the only person she turned to and said, be careful to, was Rhodey. Like, that's the only person she made a connection to now. Maybe because they're both military. I don't know. So, but we'll have to wait and see. In the comic book, though, she was just going over to that dude's house and knocking on his door at 2 o'clock in the morning, and she was just slamming it. I mean, they were sitting up there slapping skins in the comic book. So, you know, just it is what it is. So, and everybody was chasing her in the comics. Peter Parker was chasing her. That was just how she was matter of fact about that. He was like, hi, I'm Peter Parker. She's like, hi, Peter Parker. Do you have something for me? So it's very matter of fact of the way she's going. So you heard the press release movie had more time added to it. No, it's not true. This movie was 3 hours long. The original cut is 3 hours and 42 minutes. So, damn, Lincoln Clay going out to see it now. Well, bro, let's go enjoy it. Have a good time. I don't want to spoil nothing. But a lot of Easter eggs in there. Did anybody catch the underwater earthquake Easter egg? That's an Easter egg for Namor. For everybody, you know, that's their version of Aquaman. So, yeah, the dude that played the kid in Iron Man 3 was at the funeral. Possibly. I mean, possibly Jay Pond. I'm not here to say he won't be. Right now, I was surprised at what happened with Iron Man, because that's just, I mean, I'm glad all the fan theories got their shorts blown apart, you know, but it was tough, man. It was tough watching this one. So it was tough. So yeah, but have a good time there, man. I did 2 of them in a row, Lincoln. I got the large popcorn last night, and then I got Chipotle sliders today, and it was tough, man. I teared up. The woman sitting next to me on my left, she teared up. You know, it was tough. I mean, you got some major fan payoff on it, though. It's tough. It's just hard to watch, but it was tough, though. So yeah, you don't understand why he was there. There was somebody there from every Iron Man movie, you know, well, besides Pepper. So there was somebody there from every Iron Man movie. So Hulk has been beat up. Hulk has been beat up the entire MCU run. No, he has not. This is actually the best version of Hulk I've seen. We got to see Professor Hulk. I mean, seriously, we got to see Professor Hulk. We got to see Planet Hulk in Ragnarok. We got to see all that. You know, we saw all of that, and it was great. You know, it was great. I mean, again, now they can't say this is Planet Hulk because that's owned by Universal. You can't say this is Professor Hulk because he's owned by Universal. But there's a reason why he was the way he was, and he had on a gray sweatsuit, because that's an homage to Gray Hulk, Professor Hulk. So you stayed till all the end credits roll. Yeah, so did you hear the clangs going off at the end? The mallet and the metal. So that was an homage to Tony Stark. Because again, the template Jon Favreau, who plays Happy. Jon Favreau directed the first Iron Man movie. He's directing Lion King next, the animated thing. But Jon Favreau, the template that he used with Downey Jr. is the reason why we got here. We're here because of those two guys. And it's oh man, shout out to those two guys, so you heard them. Yeah, that's what you heard claiming. So just an homage to Robert Downey Jr. because I gotta say, without him, and so yeah, let me see if I can do this here. I'm gonna share my screen here. Robert Downey Jr. Let's see here. Those are copywritten. I'll show for a quick second. Let's see here. There we go. So there's Iron Man. I mean, I'm just showing it real quick. We went from this, to where we are now, and so it's tough, man. I mean, it just just stay in your lane. But yeah, I about teared up, man. So I teared up. It was tough. So your screening was ruined by a fat guy sat next to me who kept fidgeting. Oh my goodness. So he was sitting next to a sweaty. Oh yeah, it was tough because this is the end. This is the end of an era. Let me tell you this right now. As soon as this movie comes out to reserve on Blu-ray, I am buying it. I'm buying it in 4K. So man, it's 11 o'clock. I'm gonna get on up off here. But yeah, that's why my theater was, J Fonz. I clapped at the end of this. I clapped when they showed their names again when they were signing off, and it was tough. It was tough. I mean, you look back and like I was saying, man, 10 years of my life. And again, I did not want to go see this. I did not want to go see the first Iron Man, and had Dr. Nichols, God rest his soul. If he hadn't said to me in that surgery that one day, you ought to go check out Iron Man, and he was like, him and a group are going up there on Wednesday. I'm like, well, I'm off Wednesday. I might go. And if he hadn't called me to go up there to go watch that, I would have never went. I would have missed all this. And it was tough, man. So yeah, it was like Thor's eye, J Fonz. Yeah. But yeah, I'll just read this real quick. Let's see here. It says the MCU started in 2008 with Iron Man. This movie had an in-cut scene with Nick Fury, Sam Jackson, telling Tony Stark about the Avenger Initiative. From there, 21 movies later, we hit Endgame with our heroes. 10 years ago, now this is my personal thing. 10 years ago, I had to be talked into going to see Iron Man by my friend, Dr. Matt Nichols. We went on a Wednesday afternoon, and 10 years later, I'm so thankful for him dragging my butt to the theater. Rest in peace, Dr. Nichols. I finished it up for you. Thanks again, buddy. So again, that's just I would not have been there had he not walked into that surgical room when we were waiting on that patient and said, "Have you seen the Iron Man movie?" And I said no. And he said, "You ought to go check out Iron Man." And I wasn't gonna take him up on it. And he called me the next day, and he was basically like, "Yeah, we're going up there. You coming?" I was like, "Yeah." So, so it was tough, and it was tough. But he would have loved it too. He would have loved it. And I'm glad I've been in the theater to see every Avengers movie ever since the Avengers. I went to go see Iron Man, and I went and saw Captain America in the theater. I didn't go see Hulk. I thought Hulk was straight garbage. Straight garbage, you know. But you know, I'm glad they recasted that role. Mark Ruffalo brought that to fruition, and shout out to Josh Whedon for doing Age of Ultron and the first Avengers. So yeah, you were there on day one. I went on a Wednesday, so yeah, the Ancient One was in New York, and Doctor Strange, she used a portal to get there and been buildings. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Ancient. Well, yeah, you're right. You're right. I didn't like Ang Lee's Hulk either, but I mean, I'm not here to look. These movies have made a gazillion dollars. They're backing up the dump truck. Let's see if there's an estimate on what it's going to make. I'll just wait till tomorrow. But all right, guys, I'm gonna get on off here. It's 11 o'clock. I do appreciate you all for joining me. As you can tell, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I teared up. So it was tough. It's a 10-year investment, and a lot of channels that I'm sub to, I'll be unsubbing to because I was following them because of the information that I was getting for movies, and but I'll remain sub to two of them or three. Collider. These are I recommend these these four people. John Campea, sign up to him. Great information from John Campea. He's A-lister, so he goes to screenings and stuff like that. Follow him on Twitter. Charlie, his YouTube name is Emergency Awesome. Fantastic information. His spoiler goes up tomorrow, I believe. So does John Campea's. They're professional, so their spoilers are going to go up later on, giving everybody time to go watch the movie. Comics Explained. If you really want to hunker down, and I'm talking about hunker down, like lay down on the couch and let your YouTube video run for 2 to 3 hours. These guys, these are encyclopedia. I recommend those. And then Collider Video. Again, great sources of information. Roxy Strier's on there, Christian Harloff, John Roca. All these guys are great professionals. They're professionals, you know. So they're not in it for the clicks. They're in it just like me and you. They go to the theaters and sweat just like me and you do. So, yeah. So I see the Star Wars. Yeah, I love the Star Wars teaser. I'm looking forward to it. And you know, we already have our saying for Star Wars. It is The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, for the Rise of Skywalker. So that's fine. That's our saying going into the movie. So yeah, Comics Explained. You can, like, if you go to him and you type in Civil War, he will give you the 10-hour explanation on Civil War. Civil War 1, because there was Civil War 1 and Civil War 2. Go to Civil War 1, and that's an education right there. The Infinity Gauntlet. If you want to know the true Infinity War with Thanos, you can listen to him. It's a long story. So you know him, but you'll see all the Easter eggs from Thanos snapping his fingers. You know, you can the guy's amazing. He's amazing. So and these guys go to Comic Cons and they're the host. Like, they're not the guys dressing up. These guys are the guys picked to host the Comic Cons, the panels. So these guys are professional. But guys, I'm gonna get on off here and I'm gonna go to bed and just enjoy the evening and kick back and check out my man Robert Storms, because he's doing an Avengers Q&A himself. So all right, guys, take it easy, keep it gaming, and keep the movies coming, keep the questions coming too.